Hello, Don.
Hello. We'll be starting in just a moment.
Yeah, no worries. This is Tim Nelson. Just letting you know I'm here.
Yeah.
You look pretty lonely over there.
Yeah, I feel a little rejected when I sit here by myself. But, yeah. Bill's coming now. Okay. Good evening. I am going to, before we begin the Planning Commission, which will be immediately followed by the Board of Adjustment, I'm going to read some text to you about...
Yeah, you look pretty lonely. I feel a little rejected when I sit here by myself.
Well, we got a big feedback about a minute later. Bear with us a moment as we work through the technology
Did
issues
you
here.
tell people to turn off their mute?
No, we haven't
Haven't gotten there?
haven't
yet?
talked to anybody
Okay.
about it. Yeah. Somehow we got a little bit of feedback, so if you, whoever's listening, if you have a mute and you can mute your phone until you have time, it's time to speak, that would be appreciated. Okay, I'm going to start again. I'm going to read a brief statement regarding the COVID-19 pandemic in our meetings. The following, okay, number one. It has been determined that an in-person meeting is not practical or prudent because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the related peacetime emergency declaration made by Governor Walz in accordance with Minnesota Statutes Chapter 12. We have ensured that all members of the body participating in the meeting, wherever their physical location, can hear one another and can hear all discussion and testimony offered at today's meeting. We have also ensured that members of the public present at the regular meeting location of the body can hear all discussion and testimony and all votes of the members of the body. We have urged the public not to attend this meeting in person because of the COVID-19 pandemic and have ensured that members of the public can view and monitor the meeting remotely in real time by broadcasting the meeting on the Cook County website. All votes will be conducted by roll call, so each member's vote on each issue will be identified and recorded. All right, having read that, I am going to call the Planning Commission meeting for Wednesday, June 10th to order. And the first item of business on our agenda tonight is to adopt our agenda and approve the minutes of our May 13th meeting. If you've had an opportunity to review those minutes, anyone would like to make a motion?
Judy Mattebacher, I move we approve the minutes
Thank you.
and agenda.
Thank you, Judy. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Greg Mueller, second.
Thank you, Greg. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of this, I will run through the roll call as we will do for each item tonight. So I'll begin with Adam Treeful. Adam, are you there? Adam Treeful. Okay, we're going to move on to Jerry Henniker. Is Jerry available? All right. Judy, we just talked to Judy, made the motion. I assume you want to vote for that one, Judy?
Aye.
Aye. And Charlie Laboda.
Aye.
Thank you, Charlie. Greg Mueller.
Aye.
John Schlut. John, are you there? I just had something. Was that you, John?
I'm here.
Okay, are you in favor of this motion to adopt the agenda and minutes?
I'm not hearing you very well.
That's Henniker.
Is this Jerry?
Yes.
Jerry, we have a motion and second on the table to adopt the minutes and the agenda for the minutes from the last meeting and agenda for tonight. In favor of that?
Yep.
Thank you. So, John Schlut, I think did we have John there? I guess not, that was Jerry that we had there. All right, so I at this point, I don't have John Schlut available or Adam Treeful. But we do have, and I will vote in favor of that as well, so we do have 5 votes in favor. of adopting the agenda and minutes from minutes of last meeting. Okay, new business. We have one item of new business. Cheryl and George Humphrey request for an interim use permit to allow aggregate washing in a gravel pit adjacent to Ball Club Lake Road. The legal description is Government Lot 4, Section 18, Township 62 North, Range 1 East, PID 53-218-3300. Mr. Lane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is case 2020-1 CUP, and the Humphrey Pit includes 42.5 acres situated within the Forest Agriculture Recreational or FAR 1 Zone District. Has been a permitted gravel operation in Cook County since 1996. Considerations: with the 2020 construction season looming, Northland Constructors, Inc. approached George and Cheryl Humphrey about utilizing their Ball Club Lake Road pit for summer operations. Northland's primary focus has been on bids connected to Highway 61 construction near Grand Portage, including regrade, culvert enhancement, replacement, widening, and resurfacing of a 17-mile travel corridor. Following an April 24th bid deadline, Northland was awarded the project, and shortly thereafter, they contacted Land Services to communicate both short and long-term intentions regarding use of the Humphrey Pit, doing so with the active cooperation of the Humphreys. The Humphrey Pit is contained within a prominent esker and exhibits no wetland or water resources within the pit perimeter. The surrounding landscape is notable for three things, however: water, wetlands, and other eskers. In fact, both the adjacent KGM and Cook County pits are part of the same geologic process that created the current Humphrey mining resource. Going into the bid process, Land Services was aware that the volume of hot mix asphalt required for the Highway 61 project of 100,000 tons would require two things: material and hot mix capability. A review of permits and amendments thereof for the Humphrey Pit identifies the original extraction permit, Resolution 96-38, hot mix allowances, Resolution 2001-51, and pit expansion to 10 acres in 2013. Perhaps most foretelling about 9638, Resolution 9638, however, is Condition 3, which states, "Gravel washing shall not be permitted until such time that a complete plan of operation is detailed, including machinery, water source, drainage, sedimentation control, and volume of material is presented to the Planning Commission for approval or denial. As may be suggested by this application, such time may have arrived." The pit's products have been described as clean, suggesting little need for a wash-rinse operation, which is primarily sand. However, that assumption is not a guarantee washing won't have to occur, and as a result, Land Services strongly encouraged the Humphreys, Northland, and Wenck Engineering to establish permit criteria for sand and aggregate washing at their pit, doing so before it manifested itself as a Board of Commissioners permitting emergency. This application represents just that. If a wash operation is needed at the Humphrey Pit in 2020, it is described as a closed-loop operation and includes an on-site mechanical and passive component facilitated by natural water infiltration. And the Wenck Engineering attachment provides an overview of that process. Sediment and filtrates will be gravity separated in the ponds with the ongoing recycling of sediment-free water. If approved, the following conditions may be applied to this IUP. 1, wash operations may be conducted only during 2020. Thereafter, a new IUP shall be necessary. 2, actual volumes of water used shall be reported to Land Services. 3, no off-site discharge of water shall be allowed. 4, the permit owners are responsible for the installation and maintenance of all erosion and sediment control measures, if necessary. 5, the permit owners are responsible for adherence to all state and federal laws and regulations. 6, enclosures must be established around wash ponds to prohibit entry during non-working hours. 7 hours of operation for all components of gravel and material production, including mining, screening, crushing, and washing, shall be those established in Condition 6 of Resolution 2001-51, and 8, all conditions attached to Resolutions 96-53 or 2001-51 shall remain in place. We sent out 29 letters of notification. We received 2 inquiries for more information and 1 letter of concern from Susan Perrin-Schubert, which was included in your packet.
Thank you, Mr. Lane. Is Mr. or Mrs. Humphrey, Cheryl or George Humphrey, or someone representing them available?
We are both here. This is Cheryl.
Thank you. Is there anything you would like to add to Bill's narrative before we open this to public hearing?
Well, I guess, just to clarify, I signed a lease agreement with Northland Constructors in January of 2019. And that's a 5-year plan that we have for that. It could be extended after that, but I do have a lease agreement with them for 4 more years.
All right, thank you. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I guess, just to say Northland is great to work with in the pit. They do everything perfect. They don't cut corners. They go to great lengths to communicate and just be on top of everything. So I feel comfortable having this BUP with them operating it.
Very good, thank you. Then we'll open at this time, I'll open the hearing up to the public. Anyone listening in the public who would wish to comment on this, now would be your opportunity. I'd ask you to begin by giving us your name and address, please. Anyone that from the public, now is your opportunity.
I'll join in. This is Jeremy Carlson with Northland Constructors, listening in as well. Address for myself at Northland is 4843 Rice Lake Road in Duluth. And just here supporting the Humphreys in this application, of course, and certainly appreciate the kind words from Cheryl, but we also agree that we're looking to do things the right way and not cause any issues or hard feelings between anybody, whether it's the county, the board, the Humphreys as the property owner, or ourselves as a licensed operator of gravel equipment. So just wanted to get that in and let you know that I'm here on the call as well.
All right, very good, thank you. Anyone else in the public wish to comment on the Humphrey CUP or IUP, I guess it is? Anyone else? Is there someone there? I'm not getting any other comments, so I'm going to close the public hearing portion of this meeting and turn to the commissioners, the Fund Commission members, for comments. Anyone have any comments or questions regarding this?
Is the time frame spelled out as to when the permit would be expired?
Condition 1.
Yeah, condition 1 is wash operations may be conducted only during 2020.
So just 2020, okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Any other commissioners with comments or questions?
This is Commissioner Laboda.
Yes, Charlie.
I've got a few questions. My first one is there wetland delineation on the property?
No, in the original configuration, there wasn't any wetlands identified during the original permit process.
Did you hear that, Charlie?
I heard, no, there's not at the moment.
Yeah, there's no identified wetlands on the property.
Have Bowser or the tech panel been consulted on this?
They were notified, yes.
They didn't comment at all?
No.
Well, I think Northland and George and Cheryl have both, in my experience with them, have proven to be very professional operators, and I would be in favor of this.
Thank you, Charlie. Any other commissioners with comments or questions?
No, there's,
Someone, one of you two, go ahead.
Jerry,
Jerry, I heard you say this is Jerry, but you are not coming through to us.
are you getting me very clearly?
Yeah, you're better now.
He's got a bad cell.
That's beside the point. We got the communication. Everything seems in order.
I'm sorry, I don't know if others are hearing you. We cannot, you're breaking up so badly, we cannot understand what you're saying, Jerry. Maybe you ought to try another connection. In the meantime, anyone else want to comment on this?
I'm Greg Mueller. I was out there today, and I have my support.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. I will say, I visited the property today too and happened to visit with a representative from Northland there on the site, and I would agree, they seem very professional. I've worked with a few contractors in the years, and they seem very, very professional and explained their process very well, and I will support this as well. Other comments? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
I will make that motion. This is Jerry.
Okay,
With the
Jerry.
conditions attached.
All right, Jerry has made the motion with the attached conditions. Do I have a second?
Since Charlie Lamotta, I would second that motion.
Thank you, Charlie. We have a motion and a second to approve this interim use permit for aggregate washing. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll take the roll call vote again. Adam Treefel, are you there, Adam? Okay, Adam's absent. Jerry Hineker?
Aye.
Judy Machenbacher?
Aye.
Charlie Lamotta?
Aye.
Greg Mueller?
Aye.
John Schlute? Yeah, John's not with us yet either, okay. And I will be an aye on that as well, so we have a vote of 5 to nothing. So that motion has passed and will be sent on to the county board. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chair. This is Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry. A second to that motion?
Greg Mueller, second.
Thank you, Greg. I don't hear any other discussion, so we'll take a vote. Adam is absent. Jerry? Adjourn.
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
And Charlie?
Aye.
And Greg?
Aye.
And I as well. So we are adjourned. And we will move now to the Board of Adjustment for Wednesday, June 10th. We'll call the meeting to order. I'm not going to read that notice again, but you understand what we're doing, why we're doing the manner we are for COVID-19. We have if someone would like to make a motion to adopt that agenda in minutes, if you've had a chance to review the minutes.
This is Judy. I move we adopt the agenda and minutes.
Thank you, Judy.
This is Jerry. I second that motion.
Thank you, Jerry. All right, Adam's not here. Okay, Jerry, you want to vote?
Aye.
Aye. Judy?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Greg? Excuse me, Greg, this is We are into Board of Adjustment. Greg's not on this board. All right, so and I am an aye as well, so we have 4 votes for that. So that has passed, and we will move to our next item. Well, we have some old business. Two items of old business, both are appeals. And Bill just stepped out of the room for a moment. I'd like him to come back in to explain this, but they're requesting to modify variances that we approved back in, the first one with Jim and Renee Block, to modify a variance approved for approved construction without encroaching on shoreline setback. And we're just coming to you, Mr. Lane.
there?
We're there. We're there.
Oh, my goodness.
Mr. Lane.
And this is Jim and Renee Block? is that
Yes,
right?
the Block person.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our comments, we gave you each a little packet so you can follow along here. Jim and Renee Block received their variance on July 10th, 2019. Their intent was to enhance existing decking while maintaining 30-foot setbacks from the northern shoreline and 60-foot setbacks from the western shoreline of Seagull Lake. The board voted unanimously to approve the variance. Since then, however, they have modified their board-approved plans, doing so with the squaring of the westernmost decking. This modification will move the deck closer to the western shoreline, but no further closer to the northern shoreline. The modified deck line will not be closer to the water than the dwelling, so there will effectively be no further encroachment to the water. This appeal is necessary because Condition 5 of the block variance states, construction shall be based on plans approved by the Board of Adjustment at its July 10th, 2019 meeting, and now they wish to change those plans. From a regulatory perspective, this or any post-decision appeal is why we encourage communication of all parties, applicants, contractors, LGU, to verify construction designs and intents before approaching the board. It is why we also encourage a Plan B for construction or parcel alterations. In this case, there was no Plan B until this appeal was presented. We had 2 options for this appeal: support it or have the blocks re-engage in a new variance process. Given that the blocks applied for after-the-fact permits and variances to cover the previous owner's non-compliant construction, we believe they have demonstrated good faith throughout all their permitting interactions with the county. That said, and mindful that there will be no further disruption of the shoreline or neighborhood aesthetic, we have no objection to approval of their appeal based upon submitted plan revisions.
Thank you, Bill. Are the blocks or someone representing them available? Anyone here representing the blocks? Okay, anyone else from the public that would like to comment on this block appeal? Once again, this is Jim and Renee's block, request to modify a variance. Anyone like to speak to that item? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing portion of this, for this item, and turn again to the board members here at the Board of Adjustment. Who would like to address this? Anyone?
This is Jerry. I just say that there is nothing substantial about this proposal, slight modification, and the intent, this was and I will support this change as well.
Good, thank you. Any other members have comments or questions? I did today visit the property myself again, and it makes sense. I understand their issues, so I will support this as well. Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, this is Jerry. I will make that motion.
Thank you, Jerry. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Judy, I will second.
Thank you, Judy. We have a motion and a second on the block appeal. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a vote. Jerry?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Charlie? Charlie, are you there? Yep, thank you. And Greg, not Greg's got, aye, and I'll be an aye as well, so we have 4 votes in favor of that. It is passed and approved. Thank you. Moving to item B under old business is the Michael and Tammy Holston request to amend their April approved variance to include a cabin tear down and rebuild within the approved structural footprint. Bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Land Services narrative, the Holstons received a variance on April 22nd, 2020, so it's very fresh in everybody's minds, to modify a long-established cabin within the vegetation line setback on Lake Superior. At the time of their request, they were under the assumption that logs comprising the cabin's shell were intact despite its 1920s origins. After the meeting, however, their contractor found that most of the logs were rotten and unable to support proposed construction. Given that information, the Holstons contacted Land Services about a modification of their original plans to replace the existing non-viable cabin shell with new stick-framed construction. Their new plans are to use the same structural design and foundation as the original cabin, suggesting little deviation between the rebuild and the existing cabin. As has been mentioned during previous variance appeals or any post-decision appeal, this is why we encourage communication of all parties to verify construction and designs and intents before approaching the board. It is why we also encourage a Plan B for construction or partial alterations. The tear down and rebuild of the cabin represents the Holston's Plan B. This appeal suggests a change in plans, but not in a way that differs significantly from the original construction intent or in a way that would import physical or other aesthetic impacts to the landscape.
Thank you, Bill. Are the Holstons or someone representing the Holstons available to speak to this?
The Holstons are here.
Yes, would you like to add anything to Bill's narrative?
I guess the only thing I would just comment on is that it's a modification of the plan, not a modification. I don't think of the variance request that we had recently secured, and so basically just trying to build the same structure that we had originally outlined, with the exception that the log walls are not usable, and so we're just going to change that out for I guess more stick frame, but otherwise everything else is in conformity with what we had originally planned.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right, very good. Thank you. Anyone from the public that now wishes to speak to the Holston appeal? Anyone from the public, now would be your opportunity. No hearing none, I will close the public hearing portion and turn again to commissioners for any comments or questions you might have.
This is Jerry. I hate when plans get upset like that, you discover new things, but my comments are the same as the comments on the last appeal, and I would certainly support this.
Very good. Thank you. Other comments? No? Yeah, hearing none, do we have a motion?
I make a motion.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, Judy, I had you there. Okay, who was first there? Jerry?
Yeah, I guess I started first.
All right, Jerry moved it and Judy seconded?
Correct.
Correct. Okay, any further comments? Hearing none, let's take a vote. Jerry?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well, so it is approved on a 4-0 vote. Thank you very much, folks. We'll move on to item 3, new business. Ruth Ann and James Voss, a request for a variance from the shoreline setback to modify a cabin on property adjacent to Devil Track Lake. A legal description is the westerly 100 feet of the easterly 700 feet of Government Lot 6, Section 26, Township 62 North, Range 1 West. Parcel ID is 52-226-4470. Mr. Lane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is case 2020-14V. This and an adjacent vacant parcel have been under Voss ownership since 2006. The 1.6 acre parcel includes approximately 100 feet of Devil Track Lake shoreline. Proposed construction occurs within the Lakeshore Residential Zone District. Devil Track Lake is categorized as a recreational development, public water, with 100-foot structural and septic treatment area setbacks. Considerations. This property has been under Hedstrom Voss ownership since at least 1963, with the cabin constructed around 1964. The parcel's permitting history includes a 1992 variance for construction of a peaked roof and cabin bump outs and a 2000 land use permit for roof modifications without structural enhancement. A trench-type septic system was installed on the property in 2000. As configured, the cabin and integrated decks are situated approximately 28 feet from Devil Track Lake. The parcel is heavily vegetated with shallow to moderate slopes, suggesting 5 to 10%, and a narrow view corridor between the cabin and Devil Track Lake. There are no signs of vegetative or erosion impacts on the property. The applicants are requesting a variance to allow construction of an enclosed entryway to the cabin. Construction will occur within the existing structural footprint and will not further encroach on the Devil Track Lake shoreline. The improvement is intended to allow year-round access and to reduce thaw-freeze impacts to the structure. As presented, the vertical walled perimeter of the addition will be 72 square feet. Living in a seasonal cabin built in 1963 and converting it to a year-round cabin in 2020 presents challenges. The applicants are addressing those by adding insulation and more year-round enhancements to their dwelling. Their request identifies pre-ordinance construction, outdated construction, and a user-unfriendly layout as practical difficulties inherent to the property. This is not a challenging request to consider nor a risky request to approve. Following conditions may be applied to this variance. Property shall conform to Minnesota Rule 7080 and the Cook County Septic Ordinance. A septic inspection shall be required. 2, no construction may be initiated until all necessary permit applications have been submitted to and approved by Land Services. 3, construction must not deviate from those submitted and approved at the June 10th, 2020 Board of Adjustment meeting. 4, no component of new construction may encroach further on the shoreline than the cabin's existing structural footprint. 5, no vegetation shall be removed from the shore impact zone during construction, and 6, setback distances shall be verified by Land Services prior to permit approval. We sent out 21 letters of notification and received 1 letter of support for the Voss variance from Denny and Judy Renkowitz.
Thank you, Bill. Are the Vosses or someone representing the Vosses on the line to speak to this item?
Jim and Roseanne are both here. Thanks
Sure.
for your consideration tonight.
Thank you. Would you like to add anything to Bill's narrative?
Nope, I think he's spot on. It's a family property that's been something we've enjoyed thoroughly, but the living room door opens right into the snowbank a few too many months of the year, and we'd like to put a little buffer in there.
Yeah. I think I stood on that step and talked to maybe your daughter there today, and it's pretty obvious that wind would whip right through right through the house, yeah.
I hope she was hiking.
Yeah, she was very nice, thank you. Anything else you'd like to add?
No.
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 Okay, thank you. Then I'll open it up to public comment. If anyone from the public that would like to comment on the Voss request for a variance, now's your opportunity. Anyone wish to speak to the Ruth Ann and James Voss request for a variance, Devil Track Lane? Now is your opportunity. Okay, hearing none, we're going to close the public hearing and turn to our commissioner, our board members again, for any comments or questions they might have. Well, I guess I'll begin that. I was, as I just mentioned, I was there today and met the young lady there, and we looked at that door in the entryway. This is about as simple a request as you can have to build a little enclosed entryway onto the side of the house. It's doesn't increase the, in fact, it's further away than the front of the structure, so it doesn't increase the setback at all, and because of that, I would certainly support the request. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, anyone like to make a motion? Can you still hear me out there?
Well, I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Jerry.
This is Jerry.
Jerry, thank you.
Yep.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Judy. Further, Judy, yes. Thank you. We have a motion and a second on the Voss request. Any further comments or discussion? Then let's have a vote. Jerry?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well, so we'll have 4 votes for that variance request as well. So it's a 4-0 vote, and it's passed. Thank you. We're going to move.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. We're going to move to the one I love the name of here. The last item we have is Dutch Tweet, LLC. Tweet. I called it tweet. I like to tweet. Request for a variance from the shoreline setback to modify an existing sauna on property adjacent to Poplar Lake. Legal description is part of Government Law 10, Section 1, Township 64 North, Range 2 West, PID of 51-401-4185. Mr. Lane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is case 2020-15V. The Dutch Treat parcel has been in the Heron family ownership since the 1940s. Parcel includes .75 acres and 225 feet of Poplar Lake shoreline. Parcel is zoned as Lakeshore Residential. Poplar Lake is categorized as a recreational development lake, and structural and septic treatment setbacks on RD lakes are 100 feet. Considerations: the subject parcel is situated at the end of Fireplace Road with a challenging Northwoods landscape of bedrock and old forest vegetation. The cabin was built in 1950 by the owner's mother. Since then, a 2005 variance was approved to add to that cabin, and the property was recently issued a certificate of noncompliance for septic violations, and I refer you to the Everson memo included in your packet. The origins of the sauna are unknown, but with ownership since the 1940s, it seems reasonable to assume Dutch Treat or its progenitors built that structure, doing so before the introduction of the ordinance and shoreline restrictions. Saunas on a shoreline have been postured as a property owner's right throughout much of Minnesota. However, in Cook County, they and other water-oriented accessory structures are not allowed within the typical 100-foot shoreline setback. From a simplistic local government perspective, shoreline-based saunas introduce both pathogens and contaminants into shared water resources. At the same time, we acknowledge that on every lake in Cook County, there are saunas present, both visible and hidden from regulatory scrutiny. Were this a request to construct any structure at 0 feet from the shoreline, we would be unlikely to forward it to the Board of Adjustment. And while our regulatory preference is to avoid a sauna lakefront conflict, we are unable to unpeel the protection afforded the sauna as a continuing structural nonconformity as based upon Section 9.01A of the Cook County zoning ordinance. As suggested then, Land Services is treating the Heron sauna as a continuing structural nonconformity. The Heron request is minimal and involves the change from a flat to a peaked roof. As presented, they identify leaks and structural damage as justification for the change. Given the decades-long presence of the sauna along Poplar Lake's Narrows, a conservative roof reconfiguration should not disrupt the aesthetic landscape. If approved, the following conditions may be applied to this variance. 1, the property shall conform to Minnesota Rules 7080 and the Cook County Septic Ordinance as identified by the Environmental Health Inspector. And again, I refer you to Mitch Everson's memo. 2, the height of the sauna with new roofing shall be no more than 2 feet higher than the existing structure that is represented in the enclosed structural depiction. And 3, no other alterations or enhancements to the sauna may occur without Board of Adjustment approval. We sent out 25 letters of notification. We received 1 inquiry without comment from adjacent property owner Jim Gullstrand.
Thank you, Bill. Was it the Herons or someone representing this property available? Anyone there representing this parcel, the Dutch Treat variance request? Okay, not hearing anyone, I'm going to open this then to the public for comment. Anyone from the public that would wish to speak to the Dutch Treat variance request, now's your opportunity. Anyone that wish to speak to this item, Dutch Treat request for a variance from the shoreline? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and again turn to our Board of Adjustment members to comment if they like. I'll start this time as well because I did visit this property today because I had a look at it. I've never seen a 0 setback on the lake before, and I did, and I think it might be actually -1 in one spot where it's where the cantilevers out a little bit, but it's a very old structure, older than I am, I'm sure, and I understand Bill's dilemma. It's an existing structure and it really needs a new roof. It's in pretty tough shape, so I will support this. Other comments from other board members? Okay, hearing none, we have a motion. Anyone like to make a motion on this item?
I would motion to approve this, Commissioner Lavoda.
Thank you, Charlie.
Second.
And that was Jerry?
Yep.
And,
second.
very good, thank you. We have a motion and we have a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, let's have a vote. We'll begin with Commissioner Henniker.
Aye.
Judy Machenbacher.
Aye.
Charlie Laboda.
Aye.
And I'll be an aye as well, so we have a 4-0 vote on this property as well. It's passed. And we've reached the end of our agenda. A motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
I thought somebody'd be quicker on that one. Okay, Judy has made the motion.
Second.
Second by, is that?
Charlie, second.
Charlie got the second, then good for you. All right, all in favor, or excuse me, I can't do that, can I? Jerry Henniker, you in favor?
Aye.
Aye, Judy?
Aye.
And Charlie? Charlie maybe already, Charlie already leave us? Okay, all right, thank you, Charlie. And I'm in favor as well. We are adjourned, folks. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. See you hopefully back next month, maybe, huh? Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Are we off?
I muted it. I don't know what else to do to it, but it's muted.